All right, cool. So,
Right.
High levels of
Zap and
water
Cubit
now.
actually scouting in opposite directions. That
Yep.
should be fairly interesting.
Both of them just finding a lot of
Levels of
water
salt
so
are
far,
found.
though. Nothing too
Yeah,
terribly
water is still
interesting on this
done.
map. Well,
Ooh,
Zap, it
ooh,
looks like maybe the
High
first one to
levels of
locate some
aluminum
real
found.
resources. Oh, yeah.
ooh, scavenger, nice. Well, it's
Immediately
actually a
just...
scavenger spot.
Medium levels
Yes.
I
of
actually
carbon
love that.
found.
It looked like Zap just threw down on resources. He didn't even know for sure what they were. He didn't really care. He just saw he could plant his headquarters there and went for it. So that seemed like a very Zap sort of thing to do.
Basically, like, what do you think? Like, generally, this matchup, like, Zap, no, really good player, multiplayer for sure. He said himself he doesn't really have much one versus one experience, but did come into the round of four currently, like in this tournament. And Cubit, of course, one of the really better known, really known players. Like, what do you think generally?
We will have the first factories up and running in
I don't know what to think. I mean, I have to say, on this game, it's not looking good for Cubit already, but I think even without the founds quite like this, I still go in favor of Zap. Zap is just... He's so terrifying. Even without the 1v1 experience, he understands the game so well. He is so good. It's really hard to bet against him right now, unless he's running into someone like PB Head. And I don't know, that's just kind of what I expect to happen this game, is Zap's going to overrun.
Yeah, I think Zap right now, I don't know, like, Cubit is so far behind, definitely with his iron. Like, he's pretty much, like, expansive need iron for steel to even upgrade. So, making 2 iron, it's not going to be enough. Like, at least getting that 3 iron to make that 3 steel would be ideal. So right now, expanding as an expansive is not really on the list right now. I think probably he should go into maybe life support or early glass, as Cubit usually does. I think that's the way to go.
Well, I mean, he's still going to need that steel production, and thankfully for him, steel is pretty solid, but you do have to admit that his iron income is going to be really low for it, and he's just going to be struggling through this whole game to get buildings up, to get upgrades out, and I don't know if he really has a good option. It's just kind of an array of bad ones he has to deal with.
Zap right now actually claiming one of the geothermals and actually building 2 water pumps. So that's fairly interesting, because water right now, not so much worth. You normally don't see like 2 water pumps going out this early. Claiming that geothermal, might have seen that coming already. Cubit could actually expand, but he's still going to wait for that aluminum to come in, so he doesn't waste any money.
Exactly. He's just kind of holding on until he can actually use the expansion. Because if he had hit that expand button for a while, it just would have been costing him more in life support and doing nothing for him, so not a big surprise there. I am surprised that Zap has decided on the geotherm. He's been one of those players, if I remember correctly, that kind of says he thinks the geotherm is a bit overvalued by most people, and he doesn't like them as much. Alright, no surprise whatsoever. This is exactly what I expect to be seeing. Underground nuke on the aluminum for Cubit. That's gonna hurt.
That hurts quite a bit. But yeah, it is definitely true, but we were actually talking about multiplayer. Like, 1 versus 1, wasn't, really played, when we, were talking about this. Like, in the 1 versus 1, I think it's a little bit different, where you actually need claim management, or you can't just, plop down, 2 or 3 claims for power.
Yeah.
So I think geothermals in the 1 versus 1 is, totally viable.
Can be. You just have to watch and protect them. They almost require that goon squad.
But yeah, Cubit right now actually using 5 claims for aluminum and iron. As an expansive, it kind of hurts.
It does, but I think he has to.
Yeah, he has to. Like, he can't really do anything else at this point. But at least he has a steady production now. Steel price is actually going up quite a bit. Zap also making a wind turbine. Interesting. So I guess he doesn't have enough power yet. Power price should go a little bit more, actually just should go a little bit up as it is right now. because Cubit still doesn't have any power. Zap level 3 right now, so that is definitely also something to look out at.
Dust Storm coming in for Zap too. That can't hurt. After just getting that wind turbine up, it's making almost as much power as his Geotherm.
Wow.
But Zap also a player who has commented that he thinks most people wait too long to get power down, so it's not surprising to see him very aggressively moving into it this game as compared to what we've seen before.
I hate those filthy
So
bandits.
right now, pirates. Where are these pirates actually? Oh,
They're going to be trying to strangle out this iron from...
that should be fairly interesting. Yeah, he's actually buying iron.
Oh yeah, Zap bought
So-
into a lot of iron. That's really interesting. He is just trying to cripple Cubit's steel production by making it so expensive and by taking away his iron, since he already did what blow he could easily to the aluminum production. Just trying to hit him from both angles. It's very interesting. Wow,
Yeah.
Cubit with that EMP. I understand it, but it kind of reveals to Zap exactly where this goon squad is
What?
for
Okay.
Cubit's aluminum. And so now Zap can see that. He has that information that he didn't have before, and it might be a bit easier for him to play around it later.
I actually have a little bit of insider information, okay? This is what I do, right? Basically, I was talking to Cubit, and you know what? There's a small secret in the game that nobody really has figured out yet. That if you use your own EMP, okay, you EMP yourself with your goon squad is actually still defended for 60 seconds.
Well, yes, of
And it
course, which is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly, right?
And the goon doesn't get
So-
consumed by that EMP as long as it's not targeted on to the mine. And so I can understand that from that perspective, this idea of, okay, well, that protects the tile for another 60 seconds. But I don't know if Zap would have gone after that tile in the first place anytime soon. So it's still a bit of an awkward play, just handing over that information for free.
Or you know, that was Cubit's misplay because he's right now actually typed in chat. Damn, that hit both of us. I wonder who it was. Right. That's sneaky
Oh,
sneaky
man.
little piranha, you know. So actually Zap right now purchasing a mutiny. Probably gonna go onto the power of Cubit. Because you know, he sees, alright, there are no goon squads really purchased by anyone right now. So yep. Oh,
Could
actually
pretty
no,
easily
Cubit.
hit the geotherm or a few other things.
No, Cubit actually snuck that goon squad by real quick, and actually goon squad the his geothermals. So you know, Zap right now. Don't know if he knows this or not.
Well, I'm sure he's going to notice the price of that goon squad go up. He is holding on to the mutiny, hasn't used it yet. Has some decent targets for it, but might be saving to the point where he can use 2 of them at once.
So actually, right now, Cubit actually going to level 3, like fairly soon. Like he still needs to wait a little bit, you know, still needs to get a little steel, but like Cubit is in a bad spot right now, okay? But he's making the best out of it. I'm surprised that he's like still in this game, you know,
Pirates.
getting
I
relevant
hate those
auctions.
filthy bandits.
Like really good for Cubit actually. Like that he's, you know, not falling apart. I'd be sure like many other players would just fall apart because they don't really have a spot where they can found, and Cubit's just making the best out of it.
Yeah, this is why I think Expansive was the right call. You're not getting very good tile efficiency out of all of your tiles, but you have so many of them that maybe you can fight through it anyway. And once again, a very fortunate power surge for Cubit onto Zap's tiles. That rolled exactly the absolute best it could have. It's going to knock down all 3 of Zap's tiles and just slam straight into Cubit's goon squad.
All right, nice. And also, Cubit has 50,000. That Zap, 21,000. But you know, Zap just has a slight power advantage. Also making glass. Right now, Cubit actually his reactors got power surged. So reactors right now for Cubit, that's a good call because you know he's not he's making 2 water tick, but water is so low that you know he can actually auto supply this with no problem.
Yeah.
I have a feeling so. Actually, Cubit also actually selling his glass furnaces actually, and going into reactors. That's also fairly interesting.
Well, yeah,
Since
silicon's just gone way too high. Glass furnace is no longer a particularly viable option.
well, Zap is actually making just a little bit of silicon, so
Just
he
a
might
little
just
bit.
make he just might say I'm gonna switch. I'm just gonna make a little bit of money on silicon, maybe switch back later, but for now, definitely reactors are a better thing to do. And actually, a power coming in. This is huge for Zap right now because he has that geothermal plus that wind turbine. So this is right now really big, and also making a hack array, also fairly interesting.
Yeah, well, Hacker Ray, this is something a lot of us will harp on constantly. Hacker Ray, probably the single most powerful building in the 1v1 situation. You can get a lot of work done with that when you only have one other person's economy that you need to wreck. Oh, aluminum surplus coming in. Zap
Ooh, yeah,
got rid of all the aluminum he had, however much that was before that happened. He was
yeah.
zeroed out. And Qubits is just
Cubit still
losing value.
is at 200. But also you can see that Zap is actually, this is actually fairly, cool to see. He's actually saving black market items.
Oh yeah. Definitely something Zap has been doing is waiting with those black market items for a long time until something really valuable comes out and then hitting it. That mutiny he's had for the last several minutes. He's just been holding it and holding it and holding it. He bought it back when it was 4,000 a long time ago. And finally the hacker ray came up and he just goes straight for it.
Yeah, and definitely, also going for another wind turbine because the power price is high. Zap actually bought into food, so he will be making a lot of money from his food shortage, and also, just hacking away, on his debt with his power because he's he's making another wind turbine. Like right now, it's going so well for Zap. Like sure, Cubit is level 3. Cubit is actually limping behind. But fairly close to Zap. But Zap actually still expanding to level 4. So I don't know. This is for right now for Zap. He's making farms. He's making another silicon mine. Might be going to glass yet again. So this is definitely everything going in favor of Zap, and also EMPing Cubit's farms.
Yep.
So right now Cubit is just shut down for the game, like the next minute or so.
Zap also not selling power, trying to drive that price up, maybe misreading the situation of the game with all of this, as he is shutting down all of Cubit's buildings, so they haven't been consuming a lot of power. So Cubit's actually been able to sell off quite a bit, and he may be in an okay position to respond to this energy shortage a lot better than Zap thought he was, at any rate. All right, more freezes onto the hacks. We're not going to see any of those coming out anytime soon, but we do see that the energy shortage, I believe, completed before the power surge came down. So that all-important play did manage to get through, and Zap should get something out of it fairly effectively.
This is, I don't know, Qubit right now, his stock price is kind of falling, kind of dropping. Zap right now with 29,000, he could actually, start buying out Qubit with no problem. Zap, I don't know, I have the feeling that he kind of wants to, he's actually shorting steel right, surplusing steel right now.
Yeah. He has had that queued up for a long time. I'm kind of assuming he will manage to cancel it before his hacker array comes back, but I guess he just mutinied again, and he's still going for the steel surplus. I don't really understand this right now. There he goes.
Yeah.
He's gotten rid of it, moving into a carbon shortage, far more reasonable, and actually deciding to surplus food as well.
Yeah, also, Zap's geothermal getting mutinied right now.
No,
So
good.
right now for Qubit, yeah, he's doing fairly well.
Although a very poor timing on that mutiny, I think. Because, first of all, we have this auction coming up. Zap's going to see that. He's going to be able to respond to it very quickly. Second, Zap is only 1 second away from a purchase on the black market, and he could just take that geotherm right back if he wants to.
Yeah, so, yeah, right now, Zap still ahead by quite a bit.
I
Um,
hate those filthy bandits.
but yeah, like I think he's just gonna, short power for like all time. Like right now, again, surplusing steel right now, might not be. Oh wait, he
He
actually
canceled
canceled
it.
that.
He canceled
Sorry.
that. He's moving into
I
the
did
carbon
not even
short.
see
He's
that.
moving into the food surplus. Those are both good plays. Since he has control of a couple hacker arrays, once his becomes unfrozen in about 30 seconds, it should work out okay. The food surplus is odd to me because he's actually going to be making about as much food as Cubit in just a few seconds here. He might end up canceling that surplus, maybe not thinking through the black market effects all the way, and Cubit actually getting out of his food, moving into solar panels.
Yeah,
That's very
He
strange.
even canceled it. He canceled the food surplus. Right now, shorting carbon, I think, yeah, it's a good thing to do because he doesn't really need all that carbon.
Very simple and
also,
straightforward. I mean, easy play.
Also, he has 55,000. He has actually going into carbon all the way. Almost has 1,000 carbon. I just want to say, like, with 55,000, I think you should, start buying out Qubit.
Yeah,
Like, getting those, shares for sure.
he could start pushing for that win at this point for sure, I think.
With actually the next short or surplus, I think you should short food. I think that should be a thing.
Food would be an option. Silicon, also kind of a very interesting option this game. Zap's been sitting on a lot of silicon production for a long time, and that price has risen quite high. Up there's the control shift down. He's sitting on 165,000. This game should be over in about 10 more seconds.
Yep.
We were just waiting on
Yeah.
the shorts.
Yep. GG Zap. Wow. What a game. What a game.
It was a good game. Two very strong players. Cubit really doing what he could to pull it back from that awful founding position that really he had no influence over. It's just Zap happened to run across the resources before he did. And it was a bit of a downhill spiral from there.
So right now I'm thinking like, actually a lot of these games are pretty much map wins. Like who finds stuff first, who founds first.
Well, I don't know. A lot of these games, we are seeing some strength in the found, but we're seeing some misfounds as well, where maybe finding a really good spot first is helping, but a lot of players we've seen maybe not identifying what a really good spot is, whereas this game, it kind of came down to there was only realistically one spot, and Zap got it, and then Cubit was just fighting from behind the whole time.
Yep. And also, Zap making a lot as of right now, making a lot of money on power, carbon, and actually food. That's well, Qubit right now is actually not really making much money on silicon and glass.
Yeah,
But that
Cubit
was
bought a lot
just-
of silicon and glass that game.
Yeah, that was just probably because he was using his claims for aluminum and iron. So
It just too many claims. He had to devote 6 claims just to steel production, and he was only getting three steel a second out of that.
yeah.
I am going to say, no, it was not just a map win, but there is absolutely no question, and I will actually not have it questioned, that the map was awful and
Yes.
gave Zap a huge advantage. There is no arguing that.
All right, that is true. With
I'm
that
just,
said,
I'm not going to take any of that today. A basic,
Yeah, that
no,
was- that
the map
was-
was actually real bad. And
That was really bad.
Zap had a huge lead just because he happened to cross the only viable founding position first.